Hello and welcome to Homeschool Together. I hope you have your food and your gaming hats on. We spent the last 2 weeks in Japan and had a wonderful time. Really focused on kind of like, not like a lot of a lot of cultural stuff, a lot of like food related things
We love the food.
and the ambiance. We watched a lot of movies and
Yeah.
whatnot. Normally we try to pick like, oh, Tokyo or these famous places and whatnot. This time we just kind of went with the ambiance, you know.
Well, it was our first couple of weeks of our parent partnership. Well, right in the middle was our first week,
And
and
then you had a Girl Scout trip.
oh yeah, we went camping, and we had another trip on the weekend. So this was a really broken up study, and so we just kind of like leaned into our games and our movies and the food and some really good books, and just tried to go kind of easy on ourselves with this week. But it was funny as we were coming up with, all the things to come up here and film this for you, we realized, man, there was actually a lot of stuff. Because we felt like this was such a crazy, with all these items, we felt like this was such a crazy mixed up couple of weeks here that, gosh, did we really get anything done? And
Yep.
I'm pleasantly surprised with how much we did, actually.
This ain't some three-ring circus here. Magic Ramen, and let me get the name right. The story of Momofuku Ando, who invented the instant ramen noodles.
Right. Our daughters love instant ramen, and so this
Who
is
doesn't?
really...
One's a snack, two's a meal, three's a feast.
Yes.
That's what I did in college.
So, anyways, this is just the story of folks after World War II when food was scarce, people didn't have a lot of money, and he wanted to find a way to make noodles easier for people to get. And so this was a really cool story, and we paired this actually with we kind of did, this was our triple play that night.
Triple play.
Because we read this book and then we made ramen, and not like the top ramen instant stuff, but I actually got some unflavored ramen at the store, so you can buy that just like the ramen cakes, but it doesn't have any flavoring packet in it. And we added our own vegetables and we made our own broth. I have a really good recipe that I found.
Put in the show notes.
Yeah, I'll put it in the show notes. The only thing we didn't do was the egg because that didn't sound like it's something any of us wanted.
Nope.
Maybe next time we'll be more adventurous. But we did that, and then we played
Ramen Fury.
Ramen Fury, where you go ahead and you're building a bowl of ramen that has different sets in it. Or
Cards, yeah, it's like a deck builder.
yeah, like it's not really a deck builder. Like you're playing either pairs or different combinations of cards to score your bowl of ramen.
But you got like a hand that you're trying to play, right?
Yeah, and you can put spicy chili peppers on other people, and you can have nori for extra points for you. It's really simple. Our 5-year-old can play this game.
Yeah, this game is, I've seen this game pretty much everywhere. Like any big box store will have it. Yeah.
Right. So we'll put a link to it in the show notes. It's a really great little game if you're looking for like a stocking stuffer or something like that. This would work out very well. It's not very expensive, and like I said, our 5-year-old could play it.
I love how it comes in a package that looks like a ramen package.
Yeah, so it's kind of a fun thing. So we used to do this thing called Dinner and a Movie. If anybody ever watched the old like TBS Dinner and a Movie with Paul and Annabelle, we used to do that all the time. And so this one we did like dinner and a game and a book.
Yeah.
And it all kind of tied in with this whole subject of ramen, which was really
good.
fun.
It was really fun.
So it was a really fun thing that we got to do.
Ochi-chan's Gift.
I love this
This
one.
is a really sweet book.
This is a super sweet book about, it's a granddaughter, isn't it?
It's a granddaughter and
Granddaughter
grandfather.
who is trying to do something really nice for her grandfather.
She goes and visits the grandfather, and he kind of taught her the importance of keeping the rock garden. And it was something that she did, I think, every year. She like visited her grandfather at his house, and eventually he became too old to be able to take care of it himself, and it kind of went into disrepair. They ended up having to sell the house, and eventually she made a little portable rock garden that she gave to him at the end, and so they could both work on their little rock gardens together from a distance.
Cool.
It was a very sweet story. It was one of those. It's one of those ones where you're reading it to the kids, and the kids are like, "Oh, that's nice," and you're like, "Who's cutting onions in here?"
Yeah, this is a very sweet book. I think this is my favorite book that we
Yeah.
did last time as well when we studied
Yes,
Japan.
I agree.
So definitely don't miss this one. It's very sweet.
DK Level 1, Welcome to Japan. These are these great kind of like early reader, Level 1 reader books. They're super easy to go through, give you some really just fun, big font, high level view of big things that are involved in that country. These are just really great. You can get these at the library. I think that's where we get these, yeah.
Yeah, we get them at the library, and I like them because it's nonfiction, but it's great for a 5-year-old's level because there's just there's not too much a density because I just won't keep our daughter's attention.
And our 3-year-old can read this. Our third grader now can read this. So it's really cool to have a book for both kids for different, enjoyments and different skills that you might be trying to pull out while you're doing the around the world journey. And I love that idea.
It's good.
Hana Hashimoto, the 6th violin.
Yes. Now I'll show this one because I remember it vaguely, but I remember it being good.
I enjoy this story a lot because our daughter last year began to learn violin. It was one of her classes for her parent partnership, and she was at the beginning. It was really rough at the beginning.
Rough start anytime you start violin.
Anytime. And then by the end, it was actually, wow, she's playing violin. And so she really identified with this young girl who had basically a performance at the end of the year, the school performance. And instead of playing a song, she had learned how to play violin and play the sounds of the environment around her, nature, like birds chirping or a cow mooing or a horse clopping. And she was able to play those on her violin. And I believe it's like her grandfather taught her how to do it. And then she went up there and she basically did these natural sounds on the violin and she killed it. And it was awesome. And it was just something that was unexpected. And the following year, she was going to try and actually play something. But it was really cool. My older daughter loved it because she really identified with this young girl trying to play violin, people doubting her, the kids doubting her, and then she's able to perform. I think it's really cool. It's a great little story.
Yeah, I really like this one.
I loved it. Sumo Joe. When you got that little, the rough and tumble kid in there.
Yeah, this one's cute.
This one's really cool. So it's basically the story about Joe. He's a big sumo kid, and he's sitting there getting ready, showing the other kids how to do sumo and how to do all the moves. And at the end, he has to fight a judo girl, and they had this competition between sumo and judo. And Sumo Joe got put in his place, but he learned a few lessons and everything. It was it's a cute book. It's like it's nothing special, but it's just a cute book. So we have DK, a book of mythical beasts and magical creatures.
Yep, this is a really cool one. This would be great if you're doing ancient Civ, but also for around the world. And it was fun because our older daughter was like, "Hey, Mom, Dad, I picked out everywhere."
And she went in there
talking about Japan.
And she was able to get all these little, just little sticky notes and be able to find all the things that are related to Japan and those areas. And we were able to read those and just really pull out some. And it's funny because when you dive into these mythical creatures, you see them kind of like layered throughout all these other cultural books that you might read or pick up some encyclopedia about Japan or whatnot, and you'll end up finding these creatures kind of come through in multiple places. And what's funny is a lot of these creatures, when you're studying like Japan, China, Korea, you'll see a lot of commonalities across these creatures. You'll see one kind of come up. It's a little different from here to here. It's really cool. We love this book. We've used this now for a couple of years to really just really pull out that mythology.
Yeah, it's really fun because as you can see, the illustrations are great and the stories are all very short. So if it's something that you're interested in, you can try to find more info about it. But otherwise, it can be just enough to kind of get a taste. And it has maps on every page, so it really shows you exactly what country everything goes to, so you don't have to guess. So this is a great one.
Next one is all about Japan: stories, songs, crafts, and games for kids. Now, if you're thinking about adding a little bit more to your Japan study, maybe you have some heritage in Japan, maybe you have a kid who's really interested in Japan and you want to add a few extra weeks, this would be a great book to kind of use as like a spine across like 3 or 4 week kind of unit study about Japan.
Yeah.
It gives you a lot of great ideas, a lot of cool history, a lot of cool projects, give you a lot of creativity here. This is a great thing, especially if you're thinking about maybe like you're going to go and travel to Japan and you want to do a little bit more, maybe a little bit of a prep work. This is a great book for that. We kind of nibbled at it throughout. But this was a good one. We highly recommend this one.
Yeah, I think what's nice about this is it's all nonfiction stuff. It's all about culture, and because it's great for kids and with great illustrations. So yeah, this would be awesome to base like a 1 month unit study on Japan.
Absolutely agree.
Around this book.
The Smithsonian Behind the Scenes at the Museum. This is a book we have pulled in through multiple levels. We did it the first time we went around the world. We did it with ancient civilizations. We've been doing it for a long time. And there's always something in here that's kind of interesting. This is a book that
I love this book.
So this one was talking about the samurai armor. So we were kind of looking at some samurai soldiers and talking about like katanas and sword fighting and that type of thing. So really cool thing. Just have a nice little spread here that you can kind of go into. Not that I think you should buy it unless your kids really like museum stuff. It's just like a really cool spine if you can find it and pick it up, or maybe check it out. It's at the library. It's well worth, I think.
I love this book because if your family is a museum nerds in any way,
especially if you're like big fans of like Night at the Museum and you really like that kind of trilogy of movies, you kind of like the museum experience. This is a really good one.
What's nice about this, and it's the only book of its kind I've seen like this, is it talks about famous archaeological items like these samurai armor, for example. But it talks all about the people who work at the museum. Mm-hmm. It's talking about the people who are conserving it, who clean it, who care for it, and all of these people. And it just shows the myriad of folks that it takes to actually preserve and display these items. So I love it because it's all like the unsung heroes of the museum. So if you love going to museums at all, I would definitely recommend getting this because it can help deepen the experience, I think, for your kids to know, just what went into that thing that they see at the museum. So
that's great. Yeah, and we're very lucky here in this East Side Seattle area. We have the Burke Museum at the University of Washington that has a very similar experience where they're showing the exhibits, but there are actually conservationists and museum people working, and you can watch them almost like they're a fishbowl, and you can watch them do their work while you're going through the museum. It's a really cool experience. Our oldest, as we are continuing and pushing some chapter books for her to read. We've been kind of running through the Magic Treehouse series. We have like 50 or 60 of these.
Well, yeah, I think there's 38 or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
we have most of them.
Yeah, we have most of them.
We've been thrifting for a long time for these books.
So we went ahead and picked up Night of the Ninjas, and she went ahead and read it. It was kind of funny, side story. Pay attention to what they're reading, because she went chapter 1, 2, 3, and then for some reason she jumped to chapter 6 and 7, 8, 9 and finished it. And I said, hey, what happened? What were the ninjas?
How did Jack and Andy get? Who were the ninjas? Why did they show up?
She goes, oh, I don't know. I'm like, did you read this chapter? She goes, no. So we had to send her back through and read chapters 4 or 5. It's like, anyway.
She ended up skipping the middle. So
I'm going to be a little bit more present in the future. I just learned my lesson.
Yeah.
But anyway, Night of the Ninjas, short read, Jack and Annie getting into their antics. If you've never seen a Magic Treehouse book, that's about it. It's perfect for that kind of blossoming early reader. Maybe you've finished your second or third year of phonics curriculum. They're starting to get a little bit beyond those kind of reader books, and they want to get into those early chapter books. Mary Pope Osborne has printed a lot of money on this series, and so
she definitely has.
She has. We decided to do a little art this week.
Yes.
Little swamp.
Yeah, we
little origami.
did a little origami.
There were three of these. The 5-year-olds did not survive.
Yeah, but it was a fun. We tried folding some other things, but these were the best.
This is very easy. This is just a simple swan. So
these are the things that turned out the best. So yeah, definitely leaning into some origami. We thought that would be a fun and very attainable art project in these busy couple of weeks we had.
So let's talk a little bit about games, because that's what we do. Number one, I think, is probably the easiest, and you're going to get a lot of these. So if you like this game and you invest in it and your around the world journey, you can probably do about 10 countries worth of stuff.
Something like that.
Is Ticket to Ride, and this is the expansion, so you do need to have the base game purchased. But this is the Japan and I think Italy as well. It's the dual one, yeah.
What's cool about these, these map expansions are often much cheaper than the base game, so that's pretty cool if you already own the base game. They always come with a double-sided map. We have Switzerland and India as well.
I don't want to open it too big, because this was actually a very big game.
It is a very big map.
It's a very big map. Anyway, it's very large.
No.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
It's huge.
And I think...
No, that's the Italy side. Wait, we got to flip it over.
What are we doing here? There it is.
No. Flip it over one more time. We're going to get there. There's Japan. It's huge.
Yes, it's a very big expansion.
Yeah, this is a really big board. This is bigger than the other boards.
I think it's one segment bigger than the other ones.
I think they did that because Italy is
very
long, and so is Japan, so they felt like it would mesh well. One of the things that I like about the expansions for Ticket to Ride is that they all have unique rules. So like Switzerland has unique cards to go when you go across the whole country.
tunnels and some.
Right. This one has high-speed trains.
High-speed trains.
Different. Some of them have ferries, and some of them they all have like some unique, interesting, different rule.
But the rules are all very like they're very related to the country. Like
Exactly.
if I'm right, the India one that we have, it's all built around the railroads, and so but like closing loops of the railroad, and that's a big thing. So there's just like little wrinkles, and I really like it.
Right, because Switzerland's so small, it's like you have to connect to the countries
Different
across.
countries, yeah.
Anyway, these cool wrinkles make these really fun games, and they kind of it's always like a unique play when you do. And you can usually find the map expansions pretty affordably, so definitely would check that out. We'll put it in the show notes.
Next one we'll do is the King of. If you have a kaiju fan, this guy, or a Godzilla fan, hold that note. We'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. But you may enjoy this game, which is King of Tokyo.
Yeah, King of Tokyo. It's awfully fun.
It's a very simple game, and what's cool about it is that if we were able to scale down the rules to play with our youngest and able to play, have her play. There's a whole thing about cards and energy tokens and reading things. You can remove that and just do essentially. It's like playing Yahtzee.
A little bit.
It's got a Yahtzee element,
with the
and then you're attacking other monsters, and you're moving in and out of Tokyo, and then you become eligible to be hit, and then you can hit other people. It's a very simple game, very straightforward. If you play the dumbed down rules. And we enjoy it. And then to play more advanced rules, it's really fun as well because there's a lot more wrinkles, there's a lot more strategy and whatnot. So fun game. We played a couple hands of this.
It's cool. It's all about attacking monsters attacking and healing, and it's just fun, and you get to decide who you're attacking. And
it's a lot of dice rolling, and dice rolling.
Our daughter loves it, and this was a game I got for your birthday one year, actually, because you like kaiju.
Yep.
It's really fun, and you can make it more difficult and all that stuff.
Now we own the smaller version of this, but we also own the party edition, which is Sushi Go.
Yeah, we actually have. It's funny. We have Sushi Go. We have a couple copies of it. We have like one at home, one in the car, because our little one loves to play Sushi Go.
I have played this week. We were joking about. I've played 100 hands.
He was like, "How many times did you play Ramen Fury?" And I was like, "I don't know, like 4 or 5." He's like, "Well, I beat you."
I'm an order of magnitude higher.
Go party.
This is really nice. I love the tin. It really holds together. Essentially, basically, if you've played the original version of Sushi Go, you have a set amount of cards, and they have different types of sushi that you're doing. What's cool about the party edition is that they give you the ability to design your own deck based on different capabilities. And what happens is you end up choosing those and putting those cards in here. And you're not going to play all the cards, so you're just picking out like this type of sushi, this type of, and then you build a new deck.
It's like 3 appetizers, 2 specials, a type of roll, a type of dessert. So it makes the games kind of unique.
These new cards are like the temaki. Maki rolls are from the original. Uramaki is a new one. Obviously the wasabi from before. They have the tea, and then there's like a takeout box and chopsticks. Like there's just all these new things that you can play.
It's fun because you can kind of select what configuration you want to play with.
And if you don't know what to do, they give you a bunch of configurations based on your experience, and so you just go ahead and take those and play the game, and it's super straightforward.
One of the things that's fun about this too is it also plays 8 people. Yes. So that's kind of nice. If you've got a big family, Sushi Go party will definitely set you up. And the night you did this, we tried some sushi.
And yes, we did. And I love it because it just is a little bit more of a side. There's a lot of addition and multiplication built into the game, which is really subtle. And it's great if you want your older student to be keeping score. It's just built in there by default, even in the gameplay. And even our oldest understands, I need multiples of these things. And she's kind of like getting that multiplication kind of idea. She's super young, hasn't really been introduced to that. My oldest is, and for her, she's like really starting to calculate. Yeah, and then we paired it with a little bit of sushi. We got some sushi to go, and brought it home, and we did some simple stuff. California rolls, very simple, straightforward, nothing too crazy.
You did that for lunch, and then you guys made Play-Doh sushi.
And we did Play-Doh sushi.
So we're trying to like bundle some things where we can. That Play-Doh sushi was really fun.
Yeah, they were able to, because once they had experienced the real sushi, California rolls, they had them try a little bit of ginger. They both tried the wasabi, horseradish, but like the wasabi, and they both got nuked on the nose, and it was hilarious to watch for me. They were fine, and then they enjoyed it, and then we went ahead. Now, once they knew what it looked like, they were able to start to make their own, and
Yeah.
that's what they did. So it was really cool.
It was a fun experience. And then we watched a couple of fun movies. One thing that you had seen in the theater was Godzilla Minus One.
Yep.
Now, it's on Netflix right now, and it's all in Japanese, so you can either watch it and do subtitles if you want to work on reading with your kids, you can do that. Because we have the younger one, we just went with the dubbed version, and it was totally fine.
There are some pretty intense scenes at the beginning. I think the beginning was probably the most intense of all the scenes.
Our 5-year-old kind of likes monster movies, so,
does.
you know, somebody getting, like,
Munched.
you know, eaten by Godzilla didn't really bug her. But
I know you guys are all children of the 90s, as we are. And you've watched Jurassic Park 900 times, like I have. And you all remember what happens to the lawyer. Just close your eyes. Remember? Yes. Remember what happens to the lawyer. That happens about 7 or 8 times in the beginning of the movie. So if you think your child can't handle that, ours can. But just as a note, that is an intense
on
period.
all movies, you know, please, you know,
Yes.
make sure that it's right for your kiddo.
Common Sense Media will help you on that one.
Yeah, for our kids, it was great, and they loved it. So it was really fun, too, because it was talking about the aftermath of World War II. We were able to go back to the Magic Ramen book, too, and say, hey, remember what he was talking about? This is that time period. And they got a better understanding of why someone would need to invent, you know, top ramen kind of thing. Instant ramen.
And my oldest, you know, asked a couple questions about, we fought a war against it? I'm like, yes, we did about 80 years ago. And it was a real thing. I was telling her a little bit about what it is. Showed her a little bit, a couple pictures of Pearl Harbor. Didn't go too deep into it, but it was something that, you know, I was able to communicate with her finally. And because I think it helped set the framework for Godzilla Minus One, which is a very deeply Japanese movie. I mean, that movie cannot be made anywhere else or any other time.
No.
It's such a great movie. It's such a wonderful movie.
It was really well done.
Talking deeply about the pain and the suffering that happened there, and I had to explain that a little bit to her, and I think she enjoyed.
Our little one was just like, "Where's Godzilla?
Where's Godzilla?
What's all this talking? Where's Godzilla?"
Now, if you want to watch another one, you can watch the 2014 version of Godzilla, which is just.
But it mostly takes place in the U.S. and San Francisco, so not quite as fun. But yes, Godzilla Minus One was great. There's also a couple of Godzilla animes that are done by those same folks that are on Netflix. And so if you want to lean into some anime, our kids also watch Ponyo, which is very sweet and I don't think has anything. I came in and out through it. I didn't watch the whole thing.
Yeah, the Studio Ghibli, I mean, you can't go wrong. I picked one that our daughters hadn't seen yet. We've done Howl's Moving Castle, Spirited Away, a few of the others.
Some of them were our girls were like, oh, they felt a little bit uncomfortable about Spirited Away when we watched it last. So
Ponyo, I think, is really sweet. It's super sweet. So they enjoyed that. We watched that over a couple days. Another thing, if you're looking to do a husband and wife type of thing, you want to binge. We binged when we were, where were we? We were in Florida. We watched Shogun, the show that won just an absolute boatload of Emmys just recently. It's a fantastic movie, period piece. It's based off
series.
Yeah. It's based off of the famous book written by James Clavell. I read it like 2 or 3 years ago. Great book.
It's very good. I would just say, very adult, totally not for children.
Not for children.
The first episode, there is like a boiling alive thing, and I thought, ooh, if this is the way that the whole thing is, and there was a boiling alive thing, and there was a thing about a baby. They were not connected, but they were both a little disturbing.
But never got worse than that, I don't think.
That was the worst of it. So if you watch the first episode, you're like, oh, that's a bridge too far for me, which is what I said to him. I'm like, I don't know if I can keep going. That was like I think the worst thing that happened in the whole series, and it was right up front. So just FYI, know that there's just some gruesome stuff right at the beginning and unsettling things at the beginning.
And that's on Hulu FX. So if you want to watch that, if you have like a Disney Plus kind of combo with Hulu, I think it's on Hulu FX because it's all kind of paired there to get as well. Also streaming on Max, if you have Max, which I was watching a little bit of. They have a bunch of Kurosawa movies on there, and if you want to watch some of the old ones like Ran or Hidden Fortress, I got the chance to watch Yojimbo, which is the basis of the Western with Clint Eastwood.
It's the Magnificent Seven?
No,
Man with No Name?
No, it's
Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
1964 spaghetti Western. I can't remember it. I'll put it in the show notes below. It's a darn shame that I cannot remember that.
Those are I've exhausted my list.
Anyway, so
old westerns I know.
I watched Yojimbo. Great movie, black and white. Kurosawa, just a tremendous movie. I enjoy a lot of the Kurosawa movies. So you have a chance to watch that as well. So really embrace the cinema. I think cinema, anime, Godzilla, Studio Ghibli with the, if I'm saying that right, with these various movies. There's a lot of content out there to watch that's really sweet and fun.
And the other thing we didn't talk about before this, but I'm just thinking of now, if you don't have time to watch or read, but you have time to listen, Dan Carlin did an amazing series called Supernova in the East, which is all about World War II.
If you're looking to
if you really want to understand more, that's like... It's a lot of hours, but
I think
worth
as of right now, 2024, September, I don't think it's behind the paywall yet. So it's still free to download. So check it out.
Even when it is, it's highly worth it. It's really amazing content. So if you like that kind of stuff, it's kind of fun. Each country that we do, we're like looking for, hey, what could we, what could we watch or what could we do
enjoy? Yeah.
That will go with it and help enhance the learning for us too. So that's been kind of fun to lead into.
Because I think if you immerse yourself into it, like if you're watching something like Yojimbo or Shogun or something like that, I think it makes you more passionate about what you're doing in the week with your children, because you're feeling like you're part of this experience, and that it's not just you doing something with the children. It's like you're participating, and when you participate, I think you enjoy it more, and it just comes through. So
I agree. This was really fun. So I think that was everything we did. It was a lot more than I realized as we were doing it, but it was a lot of fun.
2 weeks, and we had a lot of movies, a lot of games. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had a great time. So
where are we going next?
Yeah, next I think we're going to do Northern Europe, Scandinavia. So that's my plan. Our girls, I think it's just our little one's desire to watch Frozen for homeschool.
Yeah. And to force her older sister, who was just an absolute Frozen fiend, who swears she does not enjoy Frozen ever. You see those toes tapping when the song starts.
That's right. She's like, now you have to watch it.
It's like the little sister's like, you got to watch Frozen. Oh, I don't want to watch Frozen. And it's like, all of a sudden you see her.
But it's for homeschool.
It's for homeschool.
So anyway, we're going to lean into that, and we'll have a good time, I'm sure. So stay tuned.